This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're each going to be building our own castle. But not just any castle, we're going to be taking down and building up our own dragon castle. This is from Horrible Games. It's for 2 to 4 players. It's an abstract strategy game that has been inspired by the classic game of Mahjong. So let me show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, each player will get a board of a certain color. Here we have blue and yellow, and as you can see, beautiful artwork. It kind of looks like a watercolor. And here's the green and red colors. The art looks different on each of the boards. Now here we have it set up for a 2-player game. You can see the board here. All the boards have different arrangements, but there's 3 levels of these Mahjong type tiles you'll see there. Here we have, like, say, a 4-player game, and it's a different type of castle that you'll be building to start the game, and this is a 3-player. There's also one that's sort of just a blank grid that you can build your own things on it. Over the course of the game, you're going to be demolishing this dragon castle and creating your own with the tiles that you take off it. On your turn, you have 3 possible actions. One is you can take a tile from a top of the castle on any tile that has an open long edge. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible choices. So let's say I take this one. Once I take that, one of the actions is I can take any tile that's on a long edge from any level that matches this exactly. So this one matches exactly, and it has an empty open edge, so I can take both of these. Now I'll place those tiles on my board. I can place them anywhere except on top of a face-up tile. I cannot do that, but anything else is pretty much legal. Let's just say I put them like this. I could put them anywhere, but let's say I put them just like this. Now let's say it comes back to me after the next player's turn, and this is the top level, it's open, and this is the top level, it's open, and they're exactly the same, and I take those. Now when I place these are all the same color, they're greens. Even though they're different types of icons, if I place 4 of them that meet like this in any orthogonally adjacent way, like right here there's 4, right here there's 4, any of these adjacent ways I have 4 that are orthogonally adjacent. Now if I placed it here, there's 3 orthogonally adjacent and then 1 separate one. This would not be 4 or more. So you can decide whether you want to keep going, because as soon as you put 4 of them together in any way, like this for example, they all would consolidate, you'd score them and you'd flip these over. But if I didn't want that to happen, I could do something like this. There's a lot of strategy in how you place this, but let's just say I placed it like this. I would consolidate these and flip them over. Well, why is the size important? Because depending on how large of area that was, you'll get a certain amount of points. With 4, you'll get 2 points, 5, 3 points, so on and so forth. And if you get even 8 or above, you'll get at least 8 points when you do that. So you're either trying to push your luck to try to get more and more and get a larger foundation and get more points, or go quickly so you can sort of build up faster. Building up's important because right now I would be able to place 1 shrine, everyone starts with 1, on that consolidated because it was one of the 3 main colors, green, red, or yellow. And I can put it on any one of these that I just flipped. On the first level, it's going to be worth 1 point at the end of the game. And building up is important because if it was on the second level, each shrine is 2 points. On the third level, each shrine is worth 3 points. So building up is better towards the end because you're going to be trying to get better end game points by putting shrines there. There's 2 other colors of tiles. These are more rare. Those ones, when you consolidate, you can place 2 shrines on them. And the most rare tile is the dragons. And when you place those, you get to place 2 shrines and take a point. Points in this game are given out on these little chits like this. Now let's say it looked like this. What are the other possible actions you could do? Well, you notice I just used my last shrine, so how do you get more? Well, one thing you could do is when you pull a tile, I want this one, but this one doesn't match exactly, so I can't pull both of them. So you can take one of these top tiles that has an open edge, take just 1 tile, and gather a shrine. There's a whole ton of these awesome shrines, and that would be your turn. Now that I've added that shrine to my board, I do have to add this as well. Now you can add it here, or once they're flipped over and been consolidated, you can add them on top, and that's how you start building other levels. Now another thing you could do is you could take a tile from the top that has an open edge, discard it out of the game to take a point. So again, you're either taking a top tile and any other tile that matches, taking a top tile that's open and taking a shrine, or discarding a top available tile and getting a point. We'll go over this one later. Now taking 1 or 2 tiles is very important because as you see, this is the last tile in the top row. Let's say I've forced and manipulated the turn order with the amount of tiles being taken between 2 and 1 between us, so that the other player has to take this. Maybe they take this and this and they add it to their board. However, that now opens up this entire second level to me. So during the levels 1, 2, and 3, as they get to the end, there's a lot of interesting decisions to make, trying to get down to make sure that you're the one that gets all the choices available. Another interesting thing is if I have 3 of one type, and I put the 4th, you must consolidate it, as I mentioned before, but it doesn't have to be on the same level. This is level 2, this is level 1. Looking top down, as long as you have 4 orthogonally adjacent, you can essentially consolidate these. Now, if you remember the black tiles, you can place 2 shrines. I only had 1, so that was bad planning. I would have wanted to have made sure I had 2 shrines when I consolidated that, because now I can place 2 of them right on the second level, which really is 4 points on its own, plus the 2 points I would have gotten for that. And so there's lots of strategy, but look at this. Even in level 2, now my whole level 2 is blocked off, so I'd have to build again on level 2 to get up to level 3 to get the most points. There's a lot of spatial 3D awareness that needs to happen in this game to score a lot of points. Now, once only the bottom level exists, you can continue taking turns like normal, or you can press for the end of the game. There's a certain amount of dragon tokens depending on how many players are in the game. When you take this, it'll be worth 2 points in the end. As soon as the one with the exclamation point is taken, that means it's going to be the last round. Everyone gets 1 more turn to make sure that everyone will have an even amount of turns. Then the game will end, so you can change how long the game is. At the end of the game, you're going to add up all the point chits you've gotten throughout the game, and then look at your shrines and add the points up for what levels they're on, and any of the dragon tokens as well. And whoever has the most points is the winner. However, there's many ways to add interesting things to the game. There's dragon cards, where one of them will randomly be selected, and it will change the way things score each game. For example, you'll get a point for every shrine that's on the edge of your town. All these score in different ways, and you'll use one randomly. Some of them with this mark is a beginner one. There's also animal spirit cards, which on your turn, you can discard a tile from your own board or a shrine from your board and use the special ability of the card. There's only 1 per game. Like this one, you can discard a specific tile that's on the edge, so you can stop someone from getting one, but all these do different things. And to add even more replayability, they have other types of setups for specific amounts of players. So these 2 are best with 2 players, this one for 2 or 3, these one for 3 players, so it gives the game a completely different feel when you set the game up differently. And there's also more for 3 and more for 4 players. It just really opens the door to the amount of ways that you can play the game. Well, there is Dragon Castle. Now, I had a chance to play this originally at Gen Con. I did a sneak peek mini review right before, a couple weeks ago, and now I've played it with all the player counts and can speak a little bit more about it. So obviously, what I love about this game is the beautiful production, the art, the components. That watercolorish look just looks so cool. The components themselves, the tiles feel really good. All the ways they look with the embossing that they've done in there. Everything looks really good. The components are super solid. It's a heavy box because all those tiles are quite solid. This game has great table presence. I mean, you're sitting there playing this thing and people are walking by. It just looks so cool and engaging that people stop by and they're like, what are you playing? Are you playing Mahjong? A lot of people recognize what it was inspired by, but it does have a great table presence that bring people to the table. I love the tactile feeling of building something, picking up those tiles, putting them down, consolidating, flipping them, putting them down, putting the shrine on it. It's just very satisfying to build your own building and to tactily feeling those tiles as that's being done. I love how they wrapped a real game around this classic inspired Mahjong. I know most people in America, all we know, or North America, what we know is, the Mahjong computer game, which was like a solitaire version, which isn't even really Mahjong, but that's what we assimilate it with. So they've taken that sort of thing and made and wrapped an awesome game around it with so much to think about as to what you're going for and what you're going to be denying your opponents. And this, I love the drafting here. Now, I still like the game best with 2 players. Now, I like it with all player counts, and if you ask me to play it with any player count, I am in without even thinking about it. But I think it's best with 2 because the amount of denying you can do the other player when drafting is amazing. It really reminds me of Seven Wonders Duel, where you're going around, you're trying to manipulate when they're going to have to take a card, in this case a tile, to open you up to more possibilities. And I love that aspect. With 3 or more players, you can still deny someone something that they really want, but they might not do it to the next player, and so on and so forth. So it's like, I just like the 2-player aspect to this the best. There is I think this game is almost infinitely replayable. Between all the different Spirit and Dragon cards, which are really cool because they really mix up the game, they give you a different goal every time. Those Dragon cards score things differently, and you have the Spirit cards which give you a different way to break the rules each game by discarding one of your own tiles or shrines. And I love that because every game is going to feel different within that. But then on top of that, you have all the different multiple setups in the rulebook of different ways of constructing it, which will also make it feel fresh. And even if there were no cards, and even if there was just one setup, I really feel like the game has so much replayability because every game the tiles are going to come out different. I've played this game a lot, and every game I've learned something, like, oh, I'm going to try that next time. And I go into it with a focus, and I realize that based upon what's there and the tiles are there and what everyone else is playing, I can't necessarily follow through with what I wanted to do, and I need to change and pivot my strategy, be a little bit more tactical, and change with what the board is giving me. And I think that's why this game is going to be infinitely replayable. I love that aspect of it. You know, a lot of times you hear a lot of people say, well, you know, this game takes a minute to learn, a lifetime to master, and I think that gets used way too often. But I really do think that this is one of those games that I could literally play the rest of my life and still get better at with plays because of the different things that happen. You're trying different things, but they're not working. As simple as the game is, and this is not a deep strategic game, but because of the 3D element of building low and high and consolidating quick or long for more or less points, trying to get the shrines up, using the special abilities, I just think that there's so much here that I'll be playing this game for a long, long time. So I absolutely love this game. It's one of the best games I've played all year. Any cons? Well, it is an abstract game, and some people just purely do not like abstract games. Not only is it abstract, it's quite spatial, 3D spatial. So if you don't like spatial things and you don't like abstract games, if you don't like spatial things, I would say you're probably more apt to not want to play this. But if it's just like, well, I don't really like abstract, I think you might still want to give this one a shot, or at least give it a try, because it's just so engaging. So there it is. I loved it so much. I'm going to give it a saxophone serenade because it's getting inducted for sure into my gaming library. So here we go.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.